If I have to wear pants, can I wear them on my head?
Yep, it's begun.
Thought you were.
Yeah, man. Welcome to. Oh, I was very loud just then. I made a personal choice a long time ago to never start preparing for this show. So anyway, whatever happens, happens. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the Loose Screws podcast, the loosest and screwiest podcast in the entire galaxy, and your home base, for that elite, dangerous, content.
Close.
I'm Commander Jantrax, as usual, and I am joined this week by Commander Audaxius.
Hello, one and all.
Blooming Wind.
Greetings.
Larkshade.
Pants are on the head. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Oblivious.
Do you remember when toilet paper and eggs were so plentiful we would throw them at our enemies' houses?
You mean Halloween?
Mischief night.
And joining us for the first... sorry. Joining us for the first time ever, Barir.
Hey, folks. Hello.
Okay.
You think we should give the number and the date?
Oh, did I not? Yeah. All right.
We're waiting.
It's the 16th of January. This is episode 268, and I almost messed that up. It's the year 2025.
11. That was the best one yet, guys.
Without that reminder, we might not have had any theme music for the entire show.
Oh, we do it ourselves.
Okay. All right. What do I want to do first? Oh my goodness.
Talk about our week.
Yeah, talk about our week. You know what we're going to do is we're just going to start with Barir because this is his first time joining us on the show, and we'll figure out why we invited him later.
On the spot. Let's see. How about my week? Well, you know what
you could. Sorry to interrupt. You could do a little like, "Hi, this is me. I do." Just this.
A little bit about
introduction to the listening audience. Yeah, people who don't always hang around in Discord all the time, haven't been in voice chat, maybe haven't been in the PowerPlay channel, and don't necessarily know who you are. So yeah, give us the rundown a little bit.
They don't really care. We're just trying to make you feel good.
Yeah, you guys make me feel great all the time.
You can't tell them that up front, man.
Well, hello, folks. My name's Commander Barir. I sometimes do PowerPlay and pay attention. Sometimes I just log into the game and stare at the gal map for a long time and do spreadsheets because that's what I like to do when I play Elite Dangerous. So I'm here. A little bit about me. I'm a middle-aged young man living in a beautiful metropolitan city. I've got 2 cats, which I think don't know I exist. They are not anywhere near me right now.
What are the cats' names?
Remember me?
Those cats don't give a fuck.
No, they don't. My cats. So I was a big Game of Thrones fan. I live in the north, at least, but I believe it's the north. And so they are Arya and Sansa, my 2 princesses of the north.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's see. I'm an IT, so I'm a tech nerd, bro. But, I'm a people person at heart. So I don't really know anything about IT. And I like to keep it that way, but my people do. I think that's pretty good. I've been playing the game for on or off for 6 years. I think I met you guys a couple years ago. Unfortunately, through this podcast.
We're still sorry about that.
Yeah,
that's on you. He's on it. He's doomed now.
That's on you.
It's been a journey. And PowerPlay, what came out in November. I think I got back online in maybe September after all the updates are going on. The Thargoid War came back online. You guys took me bug hunting, and here I am, back to it. I think I'm a lifer. It's over.
Yep. Gotcha. Got him, boys. Yeah.
3310 him right in the head.
Heck yeah. So what you been doing in game lately?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in game, it's been almost entirely all power play. Now, like I said, I tend to log in a ton, look at the gal map, figure out what we're up to. Do a bit right. I'm playing Space Risk, guys. All right. Some people have come to this game and play Pew Pew. All right. I'm playing Civ 5 in space.
Hey, beautiful.
And enjoying every minute of it. Right now, I'm looking for mega ships, and I'm doing it on a Thursday, and that's a terrible idea.
Ooh, yikes!
Big
mistake.
But yeah, that's about it. Yesterday or the day before, I almost blew Audacity and myself up inside a settlement, but only blew myself up because I was bored and I saw a red barrel thingy and shot it because I
just caught a little bit of shrapnel. I was fine though.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. And that's what I've been up to.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
of course.
Pick somebody and hand off.
Checking out for mega ships on a Thursday. It's like, oh, sweet! I'm going to do a marathon. I'm going to start training. It's tomorrow.
Mr. Larkshade, how was your week?
Oh man, I haven't been on in a few weeks. And holy crap, has it been a few weeks in like the most adult way possible, and I hated every minute of it. All I wanted to do was fly spaceships, but I never had the energy. So week before, my wife and I'll just give the short version because it's a long story. But week before, my wife and I discovered that we qualify for a mortgage now. Our credit's good enough and we make enough we could actually do it. We then realized a couple days later, how much it's going to cost to close that deal, and realized we didn't have that saved up though.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, okay, well, heck with that. Let's see what we can afford in the rental sphere, because we really don't like where we're living right now. The house, I'll just say, I know it was built in 1972 because the stamp in the windows still says it was installed in 1972, and leave it at that. Rip my energy usage. And so we discovered we can afford a much nicer place, and I mean like much nicer, like huge, for really not that much more a month in rent. And then realized after the fact that, and even after we got approved, that we can't actually break our lease because there's a huge fine and a whole bunch of other bull crap that we'd have to pay for until they get another renter in. And it may or may not be against the law in Idaho, but I can't afford a lawyer to discover that. So we just decided to stay put.
Ouch.
And then this week we got sick at the beginning of the week, but are better now. And here we are. I've logged into Elite for the first time to actually play it for the first time since New Year's-ish. Ugh. I hate the beginning of the year. How about you? Where the frick is the people list? Daxy.
Can somebody else go?
Oblivious. No. Okay. Whichever.
Oblivious.
No, now Balloon and Oblivious have to go at the same time.
Okay, that'd be great. I'll talk fast, you talk slow. Anyway, this year, before the year's out, we will most likely move to the Georgian coast. So we've begun the really fun process of getting rid of all the junk we've collected over the decades. That's a lot of fun. And so,
oh wow,
that's what we'll be doing.
How many decades?
2.5, maybe close to 3.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So that'll be taking up a lot of our time. And let's see, in game, I did participate in the HIP 22-460 blockade. And,
awesome.
And I really did it because I wanted to see how they were going to manage something that massive. And I got to say, I was pretty darn impressed. But we can talk about that later. And let's see what else I've done. Done some work for the Frat Boy and PowerPlay this week. And just a couple hours ago, I went back and revisited HIP 22-460 because it's pretty cool what FDev did post the blockade, and saw the wreckage area. And
I'm flying there right now.
You can go. Yep. So your stuff isn't melting, and I did get high predicted coming out. Just 2 interceptors. They pulsed me. They did not fly up to kill me nor scan me. They just pulsed me and then flew out. It's kind of weird. Yeah. So
They wanted you to know they could, but they weren't
Yeah,
gonna.
just a friendly drive-by.
exactly.
It's their way of saying goodbye.
So Doc, what's going on?
So, fun week this week. Mama Blooming Wind says to everybody, thank you for your support. She knows that I have my spaceship friends. And so we've been looking
I was really
at,
sorry I couldn't offer that spot on my fleet carrier, but somebody else was in there.
yeah. So yes, we live rent free in other people's spaceships that are on our fleet carriers. Anyway, that's another story for another segment of the show. But yeah, so we're looking at places for Mama Blooming Wind to live when she comes down to permanently move in Nashville. She's here now. She's not leaving. But we're navigating the whole, these places are expensive. I mean, these places where these independent living, senior living places, I mean, it's like crazy. I can't get over some of the prices, but I think what it boils down to is you save up enough so you can cash flow it off your interest of your savings, but who knows? Anyway,
so they hope.
So you hope. So we hope. No, but anyway, so there's that. Her shoulder is getting better. Her orthopedic surgeon, who's a friend of mine, couldn't get over that it was as good as it was. Went to the eye doctor today. Her vision still sucks, so she got the "you're not driving anymore," which wasn't very fun. But she's, but as long as she said she was coming down to Nashville, she was like, I'm not going to drive in Nashville. It's crazy down there. I hate the way that the people drive down there. So even 15 years ago, she was going to not drive in Nashville. So not a big deal. And then I'm on the consult service in the hospital. So after going with her to her eye appointment, I came back to 12 new patients to see. And so I got out of the hospital a little bit late tonight, but I have a great resident, a great fellow. So we made it fun. A lot of good teaching going on there. And then in game, I have been working on our New Horizons project in BGS. So I'm off on the frontier trying to shape trying to get us to the edge of the bubble. But I've made new friends over the weekend. So the pigeon, what is it? The pigeon shipping lines. The pigeon shipping lines. Yeah, they're a squadron out of Hong Kong. And they are allowing us to kind of manipulate, a piece of their space in order to plug holes to allow us to do our expansion to the bubble. And so they've been very cooperative and, very friendly. And we've been going through a Chinese or a Cantonese Google Translate, which has been a good time. And I'm sure the CCP is reading everything I'm writing. So that's a good time.
Oh, they've got you on the radar now, Bloom.
They do. Send bang bang.
What's this about cannons, and what is that? Cargo? What are they talking about?
Yeah.
Why are they shipping pigeons?
They're shipping pigeons. Pigeons are a delicacy. Kind of like squab. So that was my week. Now it's Trax or Daxi.
Trax.
All right.
No.
I think I know what's going on here.
Mommy goes last. I'll go. It's me. Yeah, in real life, in the life of Daxi, I have been dutifully nursing and caring for a sick child all week.
Oof.
Yeah, my little one's got asthma. So every cough variant asthma, by the way, not the most common version of it. And any respiratory infection she gets, it very easily becomes croup. And if you do not have children or are planning on children, nursing a child with croup will be one of the most terrifying experiences of your life.
Never dealt with the croup.
Yeah, she's doing good. Yeah, we've had like multiple trips to the ER. Croup can get bad enough. But It's a privilege. I've got enough time off saved up, so I'm able to be at home, and you only get to care for your little kids and little ones, so you have to cherish the opportunity. And then in game, what have I been up to in game other than stirring the proverbial pot?
We're going to talk to you about that.
Are you
later.
asking me, or is that rhetorical?
No, that's pretty much it.
No, ton of PowerPlay. I discovered that, God in heaven, there was an Odyssey engineer I didn't unlock like 3 years ago, and I noticed that.
Oh my God, same.
Shoot, I have to do like covert heist missions. I haven't done this in 2 years since I unlocked everything and upgraded everything.
They are my favorite.
Lo and behold, PowerPlay 2.0. It's the mortar between the bricks, right? I was like, oh, I can do this anywhere. So in a system that we're trying to acquire, I'm doing my covert heist missions and I'm earning merits and doing PowerPlay at the same time as doing my engineering stuff. Ta-da!
That's two pigeons.
I love this game.
I do have a question for Daxi. Since he's doing those covert missions, how many times have you thought, I'm about to get the alarms, I'm scot-free, and someone you didn't see sees you and radios it in and the alarms go off?
That just happened, but I popped a shot off quick enough to knock him out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on. Just checking.
I've always loved the on-foot stuff since the game came out, and I love that they gave it some love with the merits, because you can actually move a decent amount of merits with the Odyssey game missions. So, anyway, if you haven't bought Odyssey, buy Odyssey. It's been 3 years.
If you haven't bought Odyssey.
Right. And that's me. Over to you, back in the studio, Trax.
Over to me. Well, let's see. I can't remember if I talked about on this podcast that we're building another house. Since we're doing house talk, we started doing the early selections on that. Like what color is the roof gonna be, and like we went and sorted out what the garage door is gonna look like, and got started on appliances and things like that. So the process has begun, and other than that, it's been we did some Odyssey playing a night or two ago, a couple of nights ago.
So much fun.
Somebody almost got blown up by we're gonna say a stray bullet that fired into a red barrel. Somebody fired into a red barrel. Yeah, they convinced me to climb out of my spaceship and run around and collect Odyssey mats, and everything went basically fine. We did the thing, and then sooner or later, one of those guards, I was like, if he scans me, he's gonna see that we did that stuff earlier, and it's not gonna be good. And Ondaxius came up right beside him and just executed that guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had a
barrel to the temple, just dust. And then later we're leaving. And it's like, we killed all kinds of people. Ondaxius is the one with notoriety, right? And he's like, how come I'm the one? It's like, it's probably because you just gangland that guy right in the middle of the street.
The game got bugged out and gave me everyone's collective notoriety.
I was like running over people with the SRV and stuff, but they know that doesn't count, I guess.
No, that's just vehicular manslaughter. That's just a misdemeanor.
There was just unarmored scientists running away from me. I don't know. Whatever. It's
great
a thing.
Fun. Mm-hmm.
And now I'm flying on over to. I just arrived actually in 22.460 to check out things and see how stuff's been going. I got stopped. I got the old stop and frisk from 3 Cyclopses, but they gave me the green flash. One of them actually produced a swarm. So I thought he might get angry, but I knew whatever, we'll just run. But he didn't. He flashed green after scanning me and put his swarm away, and they left. So
yeah, old habits die hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now I'm gonna go scope out this debris field, I guess.
Yay.
So anyway, that's
Frontier rewarded the AXI for they rewarded their big push for gameplay by removing all their future gameplay. Good job, AXI.
Blockade debris field. Here it is. Yeah. I'm gonna go check it out. On this very special episode of the Loose Screws podcast, we're gonna talk about squad updates. We're gonna talk about power play stuff that. No, you know what? Actually, hold the phone. I'm going to talk about power play stuff for a second.
Ooh.
Because
here we go.
Here we go.
Because Audaxius and I kind of had a little fun last week. And the review, the transcript that I heard, I don't think I technically said anything wrong, but I could have clarified a few things. And my friend Bloomingwind got a middle of the night message from some power play people at Antal.
Antal,
I guess. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
I've had a
that
good
one.
working relationship with Antal
Yes,
that goes way back because, just to throw away a context, whenever we had systems overheating that we were not planning to do expansions in BGS, they would land on the Antal side of the fence. And with PowerPlay 1.0, we're corporate, and if we controlled an Antal system, we would mess up Antal PowerPlay. So we always had this, we boiled over, we're going to stay at the bottom of the totem pole, don't worry about us. And it was and it's a very cordial, friendly relationship. Love you guys, Antal guys. Please continue.
Yeah. And listen, I don't personally, sometimes I've played BGS a little bit. I've never put myself in charge or anything. Like, I'm kind of managerial around this podcast situation, but just to spell this all out a little bit more, because, we kind of went off about, we're not subscribing to agreements. We want conflict. We want to play the power play like a PvP game, like it's meant to be. And they turned around and said, "Whoa, what's this? What's this, Blooming Wind?" kind of thing. Like, what's happening now with your squadron? So let me be clear. I'm not Loose Screw's faction. Loose Screw's faction does not play power play. It is a faction. It plays BGS. BGS has even less to do with power play than it used to. Quote unquote FDev. And if you have a problem with the way that phrase squares with the facts, then take it up with them and not me. And Loose Screws as a podcast and as a Discord community does not require its members to do any BGS or any power play or have any problem if they're going to do competing BGS or competing power play. And furthermore, I don't personally have any problem with BGS factions making agreements with one another. I actually think because that's far more local and personal, that it makes sense for that to be not exclusively like a PvP situation. You know what I mean? And I think that's totally fair, and I don't think that's a conflict of interest or hypocritical or anything. So when we say we are going to potentially actively disrupt any power play agreements that we detect, that's because we think it's fun, and we don't think power. And I think it is correct that Power Play 1.0 was stagnated in no small part by, there's probably some technical reasons to do with how the system was designed, but things like making agreements to not undermine each other in certain places and only compete in other places, I think that is a path to a similar stagnation. And whatever. But we're just a couple of people, and frankly, everybody who does power play in this Discord is just a few people too. So, like, if we went off and disagreed with everybody else in power play, you would quickly find out just how 1/100th of 1% we are in any particular system. So, anyway, I don't think
the word you're looking for is steamrolled. How fast we'd get steamrolled?
Yeah, like. Whatever. I'm having fun here, but so for the record, don't bother any Loose Screws faction people about anything any of us say about power play, and in particular about anything that Audaxius might say. We have a special message which I will play now.
The following views are entirely those of Audaxis. They do not reflect policies or stance of the Loose Cruise Network or the Loose Cruise Podcast in any way. Loose Cruise does not assume any responsibility or liability for the actions, opinions, or complaints expressed herein. Exclusions may apply. Please consult your doctor if you experience an argument that lasts longer than 4 hours.
Now, with that disclaimer on the air, Audaxius, do you have anything to add?
I have. This is my. Thank you for the disclaimer. Now I can just really let loose.
Sure.
I recognize that this game attracts all types of people. It attracts all types of play styles, and they've engineered it to be flexible enough to accommodate for all that. But the one thing that gives me an immense measure of joy is the idea that any faction, so in our case it's Liangri, has this like
PowerPlay, not faction.
Oh, sorry, PowerPlay. Up your power, especially Liangri. I get this idea that it's this kind of hyper corporate bureaucratic structure that's mainly profit oriented, and that Loose Screws is this unhinged wild card that these corporate stiffs have to deal with because we're really good at our job, but they're almost even like nervous when we're in the room, but they can't turn to anybody else because we're like, that's the guy you got to go with. And we show up and we're like cracking jokes and hard drinking and like slapping corporate backs and shoulders, like breathing in their face. They're like, oh God, okay, just go do what we need you to do. That mental image is so satisfying that I will push for that level of like headcanon attitude, kind of weaving the story of Loose Screws into this whole thing. I will push that till the cows come home. But that is me speaking exclusively for myself. I will never back down from the idea that out of game kind of meta level agreements or strategy it's for some people it's fun. I feel it's the antithesis of this system, because if you're playing at this scale, like Barir said, it's like Risk, right? This isn't just one faction having one war and one system. We need spreadsheets now. And that's not even an elite thing. I mean, it's whatever. Some people use spreadsheets, but
I don't think we need spreadsheets. We can just look like,
oh yeah,
there's a conflict over here. Boom. Because that's the thing. We're bouncing around. Like we were mouthy about a particular system. The next day something came up and it was like, woohoo. Yeah. And we just jumped over and started fighting in this other thing, which is how Antal came into it in the first place.
To me, is they gave us a system that thrives in a low trust environment. It makes it so much more interesting. It makes it so much more dynamic. And I get people might think like, oh, that's mean, or you're just trying to be like contentious. Absolutely fucking not. I am so jazzed by the life and the literal numbers that this system has put into the game. We had a war over Soul that literally made Galnet. And I'm like, we're not pushing the story forward or making memories if we get too soft about our fifis. We have to keep pushing against each other and creating this friction that's going to write the story of all of us. There's shit going on in the Imperial part of the bubble that we literally won't even know about. It's like in all the stories that we've developed, the battle for V640, right? It felt wonderful to reclaim that system, and that's what's going to give life to the game in the long term. The idea that it gets too stagnant from people wanting to like get comfortable in their own little spot, or like in another aspect that I saw this week where people are pushing like literally millions of merits on an individual level as a commander. And I'm like, that's almost not fair, right? And the idea that you can't put up enough resistance against someone else could cause stagnation, or the idea of like, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings, so that gives us a front that we can't push on. Cool. It feels good in the short term. I feel, for speaking for myself, that's not good for us in the long term. So I will forever be this cantankerous, like fly in the ointment as Daxi from Loose Screws. I completely understand if people do not want to play the game that way, and I respect it because the game is pretty flexible. But I will be unabashedly conflict oriented, not to make someone feel bad, but to keep the long arc of the game interesting.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah. And these aren't like Baramir's been making like reports and kind of status updates weekly, kind of like directives and info with regards to our little section and how most people have coalesced around Liangri, not everybody, but that's the sort of info that we're passing around. We're seeing occasional things and jumping onto those things. They might not, some people might follow us, some people might not, as far as whoever's looking at that channel. It is not a monolithic thing. There's nobody in this Discord that's like listening to me or Audaxius and changing what they're going to do that day because I started yelling about somebody's handling PowerPlay in a way that I disagree with. So, don't have fear and please don't message anybody other than us about it.
my whole statement of like no power Discord has the right to make alliances or agreements, and I am under zero obligation to respect them or acknowledge them.
Yeah.
That statement equally applies to myself. If you want to tell me to go kick rocks, please. I am available on Discord. I am what's my title? I am the PP manager. Plays with PPs. It says it right there on the box.
Oh, no.
You can
so
message me
Baramir
directly.
too, by the way. You're not special anymore.
And you can let us know how you feel. And I legitimately mean, like, please feel free to tell me to scuff off because I can't say that without being equally subject to it myself.
Yeah, and just to add, some of the objectives we might post, well, I guess the objectives I post, and I'll talk to Audaxius about it. In so many ways, it's just to offer, content to the community members that are in the Discord. The great thing about PowerPlay is it's incentivized so many different activities. So when we put an acquisition or a reinforcement or an undermining system target up there, it's really just an opportunity for you to have another excuse.
Yeah.
I think it's the same impetus of the BGS orders that we get. It's here. If you want to do this thing, here's a place for you to do it.
Organized similarly, yeah, because it's like don't feel like reading the map here. If you do feel like reading the map, go forth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They gave us that feature in the Thargoid War. It was like the top 5 closest systems or whatever it was.
It was highest activity.
Highest
it was
activity
like
level.
Yeah, by like commander traffic. We have similar reports for PowerPlay, which is neat to have in the game, Yeah,
and I do have to give a plug and a big shout out. I have loved Baramir's broadcasts. The audio version of the orders, it comes out, I think, is a weekly basis.
Usually on a Saturday.
We are the only squadron that gets the Dark Elf from Skyrim to read us our reports. And it is so good. It is so well done. I love it. I don't bother reading them. I just listen to it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And
Dark Elf from Skyrim.
It is. It is.
I'm never going to be able to unhear that now.
That's him. We got the guy.
He might make an appearance on one of these episodes.
At no small expense. Yep.
All right, that's all. We can go do a regular episode now. I just felt like I needed to say in more detail that stuff. So.
Yep.
Okay. How does that make it better or worse with our Antal friends?
Well,
we don't know.
I just hope I hope the blame is going to land where it's going to land, and it's just that the communication that you got, I felt, number one, you didn't deserve, and number two, it sounded like they thought we were organizing against them, and I hope what we've conveyed here is a lack of organization.
Yeah,
and in fact, a desire to be a little disorganized to a certain extent. We're just messing around. We
and
just think
entropy.
that's fun.
Yeah, and this is this just to get a little bit in the weeds and also public decoration. I feel comfortable saying the enemy of the Loose Screws Squadron in-game group, whatever, is Jerome Archer. If you're gonna make PowerPlay interesting, whatever power you're in, pick a bad guy. And everything will suddenly have more importance. It'll have more significance. The enemy, I feel, because fuck the fascists.
Because fascism,
is Jerome Archer.
We can swear.
So
yeah, we can swear.
No, we can. You can't yet.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Minecraft server.
the only conflict
10 episodes, then you can swear.
The only the only conflicts that would come with Antal, it's like that's just kind of by accident of proximity. We will only ever incidentally like make fun of you for the kale shakes or whatever the hell the hippies at Antal do. The enemy for loose screws
I think
is
there's
Jerome
simulations of
Yeah.
kale shakes.
Nothing is going to
Fiber
manifest
shakes.
in a big way in the squadron unless it's against Archer.
That's definitely
So
the only enemy that's going to get a lot of attention.
A
The other ones
lot of
the other
attention.
ones a couple of people might play with, but anyway.
And I'll put this a much, much shorter way. If we're all involved in this giant corporation owned by Sirius, then Loose Screws is that restaurant on the bad side of town. The general managers swear they're not drinking at the job, but there's a lot of empty bottles around.
100%.
But it always makes money and it always gets good reviews for the most part. So
We're the Popeyes in the food court.
Yeah. It is. We don't work for Liang Rui. We work with Liang Rui, and that is a big difference.
Here.
fun.
All right. I'm gonna cut this off, and we're gonna switch and talk about the Loose Screws faction, which is a totally different and separate thing.
Incoming priority message.
Squadron briefing.
Alrighty, in BGS land, we're more of the same is what's been going on. So we are still working on retaking TT 58343, Maikoro and NLTT 1139. Our biggest challenge has been that we just have overheating systems. I think we're going to have another cycle of overheating because the tick today will trigger a pending expansion. And while Nurgle says it's random over whichever ones are above 75%, my suspicion is going to be, based on what we've seen in the last few go-arounds, that our top influence system, Woody, is going to be the one that's going to overheat, and that's going to land us back in Kalarum.
Oh.
And at this point, there's nothing I'm going to do about it. I mean,
There you go.
It's just it's an inexorable pull of gravity, and it is what it is. So we're just gonna roll with it if that's what happens. And then more importantly, our Operation New Horizons, where we're expanding to the edge of the bubble. We're making progress in phase 1. And I'm hopeful that in the next few days, phase 1 will be complete and we'll be able to move on to phase 2. So the biggest part of the heavy lift is us expanding out of Semikemets, which is because we can't stop the overheating elsewhere. And Semikemets is such a huge population system that it's a Herculean effort to get it above 75%. But people are helping, and it's quite a good time. And then it says something about 2 BGS bugs of note, and Oblivious has the details.
That's old news.
That's what I
last week.
thought. We didn't scratch that off, so I should know that because I actually listened to the podcast last week and did my old face palm when Daxi was being Daxi.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, that's the squad update.
You're
The
welcome.
BGS, it's fun. And
I wish you had opened up the update saying that Dax has totally fucked up our BGS and just moved on from there.
Yep.
I'll do that next week.
We all wear a crown of inf.
All right. Galnet news. There's been what day did we record on? Must have been the 9th.
The 9th. So they did
So, yeah.
or you guys, I believe, did hit that power grab at Federation's heart last week, I believe.
Yeah, we talked about
So
that.
what's happened since then is the blockade, the Anti-Xeno blockade did happen. It was crazy. Check out the updates about it. I think Galnet News Digest is coming back online here from their little vacation, and they're starting. I think I saw that they had posted something about it, which I haven't watched yet, but
They did. It was great.
catch up about that, and it'll be fun. Made it into Galnet. The blockade, they announced on the 10th that the Anti-Xeno blockade had contained HIP 22460. A squadron of AX pilots have planned to sustain have planned to sustain pressure on the lingering Thargoid presence in HIP 22460. Blah, blah, blah. HIP 2260 was a strong staging ground of Salvation's Proteus wave weapon. They're just explaining this. More updates as the story develops. Okay, great. So then today, the next news story, HIP 22460 declared free of Thargoids. And yeah, I'm here now drifting around. Actually, there's another commander here at the Overlook. He's taken off. They did it. The place is free of Thargoids. What remains is a debris field. The location on the site on the planet is still dark. A little fourth wall breaking, but I noticed that the glare of light that used to come, like the glare effect that was coming from the surface site, is still present at some angles. Oddly, even though the light isn't there. But anyway, whatever. It's
perfectly buggy free game, everyone.
So Frontier jumped in. They gave them I can't remember if this had happened already. I guess it hadn't happened already at the last episode, but on Sunday, Frontier popped in and deployed an AX conflict zone over the site, which I think at first they kind of intended not to use, but it ended up being really helpful because, of course, the instancing is not that easy. And so they did end up using it. Things went well. They had fun.
Or so different sub instances of different wings is how they did it. I read
like 1,000, something like 1,500 commanders participated. They had anchor instances for each geographic region, and a lot of people put in a lot of work, and they did the thing, and it's really cool. Frontier chose to kind of recognize it and do something about it, first giving them that instance, and then today clearing it, basically like turning off the anti-guardian field. There is now no anti-guardian field anywhere in the galaxy that we know of, and all that's left here is these husks of ships and Thargoids that I've been drifting around for the last half hour or so. Probably go visit the Bright Sentinel in a few minutes, and nothing, no Thargoids. So and the Thargoids that pull you over now, yeah, they're the old stop and frisk variety of encounters now. So things are back to basically a pre-war state, galaxy-wide, I think.
I enjoy a good stop and frisk.
Okay, you're on the wrong side of that one, buddy.
Too much info.
So anyway,
you did it, AXI! Yay!
Yeah, pretty cool.
Good job, AXI. Seriously, I honestly, I hoped something would come from that, but I didn't think anything would. And then with what we got out of that, that's just fantastic. I love it.
Guys, we are writing the game now. The last 2 Galnets are directly from us. Honestly, when at any point has that happened before?
The last dark times? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, no, it's
well, Operation Witch Hunt with Psykit and them. I mean that was a player-driven storyline, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I think that I think it's great. I only played it very briefly before being morally offended, but EVE Online's been 20 years running, and the players have written the story of the game. I think it's fantastic. So it's cool to see it playing out here.
Certainly.
Even if it's on a small level.
The logistics of that thing was incredible. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you're going to be pulling in 200 commanders in multiple instances. This is going to be crazy. The way they set it up, you were assigned a particular instant manager. You friended them before the game. Fortunately, they had the voice channel set up so that they could talk to the group, but you couldn't talk back. Thank God. Mm-hmm. You just raised your hand, and they would start pulling you in. And I first took a look at that. I'm going, God, I might be like 130 on this list, and this is going to take a while. And within 2 minutes of raising my hand, I had a wing invite to go in. It was pretty incredible. Nice. Got knocked out, had to do it again, and got into it a second time. Of course, the instances were unstable, which was pretty much expected. And the poor guy that was running our instance was having all kinds of network issues. Every time he had tried to leave a wing, his system would crash. So a couple other guys stepped in for him. I'll say it was a well-oiled machine, considering they hadn't pulled it off. Haven't done that before. I was very impressed.
Isn't that one of Frontier's new IPs they're going to be releasing? Instance Manager 2025.
Yeah,
Manager of Manager Manager.
Yeah. Oh, Instance Manager 2025. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Where you play Commander Meekin, and then if you win the game, you go to jail.
Yes.
Okay.
For war crimes.
Never gonna let that go.
In dev news this week, we discovered that the first FU of the year is going to be on the 26th of February. And when asked why there wasn't going to be a January one,
they said FU.
They said FU.
Yeah, Phil responded with what I felt was a pretty sassy message that I wasn't looking at the Discord at the time. I just saw a screenshot of it, and it sounded like the sort of message that would be appropriate sass if it was like the third or fourth time he'd been asked that question. So I don't know. I'd say, all right, benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was being harassed at the time and decided to sass them about it. If that wasn't the case, then I'd say, I don't know, check yourself a little bit. I think it's a fair question to tell us, you had this monthly thing going on, to just, little message. Hey, we're going to skip January, but we got something cool for you in February. Nobody would have said shit to you about that.
Nope.
And you would have been perfectly justified in sassing them. So anyway, maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Other news. I logged into the game this afternoon and discovered that PowerPlay conflict zones are now fixed in North America. They can be joined in open. So for the first time,
America.
What are we on, cycle 12? So
like
12
that.
cycles into PowerPlay, we can now do PowerPlay conflicts in open in North America. Congratulations. And then a message was distributed saying that they are acknowledging that there are still complaints about server response times. I didn't write down their exact wording. I hope they are including the limpets in that, because I have to believe that it's a similar thing. Yeah, okay, good. So acknowledged and investigating, so hopefully they'll do something about it soon.
Now, are the limpets?
Shouldn't we go back and open a ticket on that conflict zone thing? I mean, think about how more advanced our powers would have been if we had been able to wing up in power CZs.
We're missing hundreds of thousands of merits.
We've hardly had any conflicts so far. Conflicts are tough to find because we keep just rolling right through everything.
Well, we all know that the way to collectively issue a complaint in this game is to put it as a technical issue in the issue tracker.
That's my point.
Yeah, I know.
What worked for Soul?
Yeah, I fondly remember all the hurt fifis of the feds about Soul. God, I've never drank sweeter tears.
You keep saying
I'm sorry.
I keep hearing feces. Huh?
Yeah, I keep saying like you gotta, after talking about how much you like foot stuff earlier, you gotta lay off with that.
When
man.
did I talk about that?
You talked about it at length in the beginning of this episode, and listeners can rewind and see for themselves.
I will not be gaslighted.
You said you
what is not
liked,
my own podcast.
You liked the foot stuff from the beginning. And there was still an engineer that you hadn't unlocked amazingly.
Wow, that backfired, huh?
Yeah, I did.
They can rewind and clip that quote.
Check his browser history.
Yep.
Lark, were you about to ask a question?
If I was, I don't remember what it was, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a question.
Oh, it was Bloom. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's about the limpets. Is the limpet problem only in PowerPlay instances?
No.
Okay, because I am not having any problems with my limpets. I mean, I've been
using
mining
them to collect things.
Not from
like
for mining. I've only been I haven't done any.
I have
mining,
not
so
been
I can't
mining.
say.
I've been mining and I've been collecting some other stuff, but I mean,
where I see it, it's where go collect X number of these secret ballot boxes in a certain location for BGS missions is where I've been seeing it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, just anything I go to collect, they will routinely just hover there. And it's something about the cargo scoop. It's something about the game. It does feel like the game data not wanting to update that the cargo has been transferred to the ship. Because sometimes I'll just kind of fly along with a couple of limpets just hovering there under the ship with cargo. And occasionally what I'll do is I'll just close the cargo scoop and then wait. And after a few seconds, sometimes it'll say, "Oh, you need to open your cargo scoop." And when I open it, it instantly puts the cargo in. So it's like they finally got ready, and then now I can do it. It sort of gives me a signal, like when are they gonna actually pull the trigger?
I'm picturing a limpet out there knocking on the underside of the hull, like, "Hello."
Yeah, I guess it's because I haven't been collecting cargo. I've been collecting mats, and I've been collecting ore, like ore bits.
Yeah. Right. Now,
so
I think it's
that's
just
different.
cargo, because whenever it happens, if I go and target some other piece of cargo with intent to maybe scoop it while I'm waiting for the limpets, I get the cargo bay full message over my cargo scoop display. And, my cargo bay is far from full, right? So it's like the limpets, it's almost as if the limpets are seeing the same thing as me. They're seeing a full cargo bay for some reason, or, there's like an error that's showing that. So.
Yep.
So anyway, I hope they work it out soon. What is this? Oh, okay. So a couple of episodes ago, we got into it about something. I can't even remember what module it was, but
Torpedoes.
Cell banks. Oh, torpedoes. Yeah. And I mentioned that we were going to kind of do some more of this crap. Because people seem to like it. I'm not trying to.
You're really selling it.
As I say, I always feel like I'm like rambling and I'm just going off topic or something, even though I'm definitely talking about the game. But people always give feedback. They like that stuff. So, module. So I don't know. We didn't really discuss this. There was a lot going on today, so I didn't post about it and ask the guys. But maybe because PowerPlay is all coming back, maybe we just run over the PowerPlay modules, because I think there's a lot of people who've never touched it and don't really know what these things are. And there's definitely been a few conversations that have come up, like which of these is actually like a thing, and what's better or worse about them, kind of thing. Does that sound fun?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all a lot more familiar with. I'm more familiar with them now than I ever was.
Okay, I'm gonna like call up a list. Why don't you? Somebody start. What's
we can start with the absolute shit tier and then work our way up to the good ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that. Like
because
the Retributor.
The Retributor beam laser, with the thing I was so excited about getting from Mahone back when I was Mahone, is a, get this, size 1 only fixed beam laser that imparts heat. It only imparts heat when it's landing its shot, so it's fixed. So you have to land your shots. It's
So
only
Drax
the
would
heat
never
of
miss,
a.
but us,
It's
yeah.
only the heat of a size 1 beam laser. I was so jazzed to stick 2 size 4 of these things on my Corvette and see, like, can I actually make some? I thought potentially. For PvP, you can picture for PvP in a wing, if you have one ship who just imparts heat, in theory, right, that could kind of tip the scales if you're doing it in a wing of 3 or 4. So excited for that. Lo and behold, size 1 only fixed.
Okay.
I cannot fathom why they thought this was good to put in the game.
This is not good. So ignore this one, obviously. But some more detail. The Retributor actually only generates 77% of the normal beam laser's thermal load. So compared to a normal beam laser, you're only getting 77% of the heat imparted to your ship.
Yeah, so it can stay on for a lot.
It can stay on for longer. However, it may be worse than you originally thought, because you actually are sacrificing some of the raw damage for that heat output. So it does 50% of the damage of a normal beam laser, and in trade for 130% of the normal power or a normal distributor draw. Right, it's higher distributor draw, 50% damage, in order to trade that damage into direct heat on the ship.
For size 1. What are you gonna do? Stick it on your Eagle?
Yeah, you can put thermal cascade on a gun if you want to do that to a ship. It does have some effect. It will kind of change some of the behaviors of NPCs. Sometimes they will like stop boosting or stop firing hot weapons. So, you can do something. It's probably not worth it.
And to be fair, if you put it on an eagle, it's not like they'd ever hit you anyways. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Fixed beam lasers just sound like a pain in the ass.
they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some people like them, but not in a size 1, unless it's a thermal vent laser and not this thing.
Yep.
So anyway, what do you say we talk about the mining lance?
Yeah, let's talk about the mining lance. I have that one pulled up. I've never unlocked a mining lance because I've never unlocked anything in PowerPlay yet, even with the new PowerPlay. But the whole thing with this is that it too is a class 1 fixed beam laser. And it has 2/3 the maximum range and 133% of the power draw, 82% of the DPS. So it kind of sucks as a beam laser. But it's also a mining laser. And
But
it has
that's because
2
it's
meters.
a mining laser.
Right, exactly. And it has 2 meters of mining range instead of 500 meters. Now, the big question is,
2K.
why would you want 2 kilometers worth of mining range? And the answer is,
if you have a cutter.
once you run out of prospector limpets and you're just still trying to fill your refinery, we're still trying to fill the last couple of tons of space in your hull before you run out of limpets, that's when a long-range mining laser comes in handy, because you can, from outside your collector limpet range, you can sample an asteroid to see if it's platinum or not. So, but the thing is that since
that sounds so awesome.
No,
Right.
I mean, if you're mining, it is, because it's one of those things where it's nice to have a full hull before you go back and unload on your fleet carrier.
Yeah.
It's like you want to have it full. You don't want to have, I got like 3 tons of empty space left. So for those of us who are obsessive and completists about certain things. But here's the deal: no one wants to pledge the spider lady. I mean, that old slave-loving crone. Nobody likes her. So who in their right goddamn mind would ever pledge that lady? So what they
People who
have
also have their head on a spider leg that detaches from their neck. That's who.
That's true. So, yeah.
You can't
Also-
get it at rank 83 in Leon Rui.
Also,
Yeah, but I'm
the
like
only-
rank 8 in
Get those merits.
Young Rui.
Those merits.
Not
Well,
83,
Yeah.
like 8. I've got like
The
10
ol-
times. So anyway,
yeah.
there was a few community goals back in the day, and they gave away modified mining lasers. And these modified mining lasers are a little bit better than the mining lance. So
sad.
yeah, and now you can buy these things, at a Torval specific mega ship, and from her niece instead of her, and you can get these things unlocked for a small price. And I have a few of them on my mining ship.
Mhm.
So I'd rather have the modified
Alright.
mining laser than the mining lance. So I was going to say that would have been the one we should have opened up with, because it sucks even more than the
Now, hold on.
the Bahan.
Real
I don't
quick.
know if it does, honestly.
There's a very niche case for it. It's the only mining laser that you can fire in combat mode. So if you
'cause
have,
it
like
does
I
damage.
have the Type 10 Has-Res miner, which is mining lasers, but then a fighter and a bunch of turreted pulse lasers on it. That would let me keep mining as my fighter and my turrets blow up who's ever bothering me.
I mean, he has
So
Okay.
it's
No,
an
okay.
edge case. Yeah.
That is an edge case.
Yep.
All right. Who wants to talk about the pulse disruptor? Okay. The pulse disruptor is a pulse laser that has a chance of causing a module malfunction in addition to dealing damage.
I
Again,
have
this-
literally forgotten this one existed. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. The module malfunction does not destroy modules. It just makes them not work for a few seconds.
Whose is this? Which power?
Whose was it? Now I got to look that up.
Sorry.
Somebody I never did, because they doesn't do it like that anymore. I don't know. Frick. They've taken that info off the wiki, haven't they?
Patreus.
Yes. They have.
Oh,
It was Patreus.
I'm just guessing.
No, I don't think so.
Patreus is the
I think his was
APAs.
in
right.
plasma accelerators.
Is that Felicia Winters?
I don't
That's kind of her kind of a weapon.
I think she unlocks it first. Right
It's
now
not a
in
weapon that
PowerPlay.
destroys people. It's a weapon that goes, stop it.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it
totally
does
free 2 minutes.
damage too. It's just a pulse laser. But anyway, okay. Up for grabs. Who would call out another one? And I'll tell you if it sucks or not. Because that's actually a mixed bag from here out. Some of them do and some of them don't.
I will pick. Let's go with enforcer cannons because they're one of my favorites.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
I actually got those way back in the day, back when you could only get them from Antal. I have 3 of them, and I like to pair them with a multi-cannon on my Crusader, where the large hard point is the multi-cannon, and then I have those 3 enforcers around it, and holy crap. Even on their own, 3 enforcer cannons, which I only have them up to G4 oversized right now, just tear ships apart. It's like just drilling a hole through them. I love it so much. And I would recommend them to anybody. They're a lot of fun.
What's their advantage over regular
Okay,
cannons?
so the Enforcer Cannon is a size 1 fixed multi-cannon, but it has a slower rate of fire, and it has a kind of a long spin-up time. Because the size 1 multi-cannon usually is really quick. It has kind of a longer, almost a size 3 kind of spin-up time.
It's slower firing, but it hits like a size 1 cannon does.
Yeah,
Quick.
so it's the overall DPS is 145% of normal, and the rate of fire is 56%. So it's doing a lot more damage. It has a smaller clip, 60, and but it will expend it in about the same amount of time as a normal because of the fire rate difference. It has a longer maximum.
You are not going to need that clip. They'll be gone.
If it has a longer max range, slightly shorter damage fall off, and it has a little bit of force shell effect, like a weakened version of force shell imparted to it. And just another little stat detail is higher than normal penetration for a size 1 multi-cannon, which you can take advantage of. And actually on this gun, the sturdy modification is for small ships and some medium ships. Sturdy does just as much damage as overcharged, because the starting armor piercing is higher than normal, and sturdy increases armor piercing, but it does less damage against large ships, slightly. So that's interesting because, well, it's not that interesting. It's slightly interesting because sturdy also changes some other stats and distributor draw and stuff like that. But anyway, it's a good gun for a size 1 hard point,
And no other weapon in Elite has made me feel like I'm flying a TIE fighter when I put that on like my Eagle or my Viper, and I'm just zipping around, pasting people against the wall with those things. I love it.
Yeah.
Would recommend.
It has a good sound. It's fixed as a multi-cannon. That turns people off sometimes, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what you can get away with, because it really does feel almost like halfway between like a really fast firing cannon and a really slow firing multi-cannon. Yep. It's kind of cool. I've liked them on a chieftain, the 3 smalls in a chieftain, and then put something juicy like plasma accelerators in the other slots.
That can be good.
Yeah, it's cool. You can put thermal on not thermal, what is it called? Incendiary on them, because they're multi-cannon. So cool. It's a cool weapon. It's worth trying out.
Absolutely.
What else? Call them out. I got the list. You want me to call one out?
Well, listen, since we're doing favorites, I got to call out my pack hound missiles. So I also have some questions about them that you guys might be able to help me answer. I feel like in some ways I'm the everyman.
I'm about to blow your bubble.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So the pack hound missile is a modified seeker missile rack that fires kind of 4 small salvos at a time. It does less damage than a normal seeker rack, right? Seeker rack does 40 damage per missile, and I think these are like 7 or 8 or something like that, 7.5.
It's a little less, overall.
So you get like 30. Yeah, you get 30 overall with 1 salvo. So I really like them, but here's the question. For one, they look beautiful, right? You launch them and it fills the sky. Everyone's GPUs are fried. It's really a wonderful thing.
It's
My
that
question
anime all the missiles fire moment is what it is.
it's great, especially if you have multi-servos or something on them. It's just ridiculous. The question being, so the experimentals can be kind of fun with missiles, like drag munitions to, disrupt boosting or thermal cascade to add a little bit extra heat. Did you get an added effect for each one of those little tiny missiles that land for
like
those
for what?
Ooh.
So
Like for what?
I'm not sure. So if it's
drag munitions?
drag munitions or overload munitions,
Yeah.
but not do an additional effect per little tiny missile in the cell.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Yes, and it doesn't matter is the answer, because anything that is an effect like you're talking about, like drag, doesn't stack.
Doesn't stack. Yeah.
It just adds, and if you hit them again, it'll start the timer again. And overload just converts half the damage to thermal, which just means the damage is a different type.
Fair.
Yeah. So yes, but none of the experimentals you can put on Seekers actually would like stack to cause a greater version of that effect, right? It's always like drag or something.
Fair enough.
And when you oversize them, boy, they make ships disappear fast.
All right, Trax, burst my bubble. What is it about the?
Well,
the
I guess you already know. I mean, the thing about them is like they look really cool because of that sort of drunken way that they fly. The only thing they're better at is avoiding point defense.
Sure.
They are still totally vulnerable to ECMs. They do less damage. Their flight speed is slower. They have a little bit of a funny arm. I think they have a bit of an arming time. Maybe I should check that before I say it. But
I want to say it's around 500 meters. If you're inside,
yeah, there it is.
No damage.
500 meters arming distance. There's a bunch of restrictions. So if you get these, you're either trying to avoid point defense or you're going for the cool factor. Otherwise, a regular Seeker is fine. They don't have an ammo advantage. They don't have an advantage in anything.
Now, I will say one thing I love doing with my pack hounds, and I learned this trick from Captain Flint, was that the pack hounds, if an enemy does have point defense, will keep that point defense very, very, very busy. And so if you chain your pack hound firing with actual engineered Seeker racks as well, the missiles that are also doing the real damage will almost always hit, and whatever pack hounds hit is just gravy after that, because at that point your air quote main guns are already hitting, so it doesn't matter.
I dig it.
Yeah.
And I've tried that, and it works very well.
Yeah, that's the deal. I honestly, I think ages ago I had it in my head that pack hounds actually were slightly better for some reason, like as far as like overall damage is concerned, and you were just giving up like that arm time and flight speed or something, until we started doing this PowerPlay thing, and we got all into for a little while we were shooting down SLFs at the stronghold carriers, and I was like kind of min-maxing that a little bit and was like, holy cow, Seekers are way better against these Taipans. Way better.
So hard.
The Seeker, the pack hounds were sometimes partially missing, and it was like, oh, I don't want this. So anyway, it was interesting. I do love the look of it though.
I'm going to issue this now. If anyone can get a screen capture of them blowing up an SLF at a stronghold carrier only with retributor beam lasers,
Jesus,
I will give you 1 billion credits.
Unbelievable. Okay. What else?
I hear a ton of great things about pacifiers.
We got to save some of the good ones. I got to get to the bad. All right, I'm
gonna just get the riffraff out of the way.
Because first. You said pacifiers, I'm going to talk about the Imperial Hammer. So the Imperial Hammer is a I'm just making sure I know it's a size 2, right?
It's a shit tier railgun.
Yes, it's a size 2.
It's a size 2 railgun with like a burst fire. So the ammo capacity works out to be the same because it fires 3 rounds at a time, but it has triple the capacity. And let's see, it's a quick short burst, which is nice. But the DPS works out pretty much completely. There's no armor piercing benefit or anything like that. Okay, so if all 3 shots actually hit the target, then it does slightly more damage. Does like 114% damage. But the whole trick of a railgun, the thing that makes a railgun good, is usually striking far away targets. When they're not able to move quickly across your field of view, you get this like slight micro gimbal effect as your target reticle passes over, and you can see it snap onto individual modules on the enemy ship and stuff like that. So that's why typically we use the long range mod on railguns. Likewise with this, except with this you have the possibility of missing. So people like to try out the Imperial Hammer because it's sort of reports like what's going to happen is you have the possibility of hitting. Like if you're not very good at the railgun timing and you miss a lot of railgun shots, then maybe the Imperial Hammer will be better. I don't know. I mean, your mileage may vary. That might work for you. I tend to think probably the opposite is true, and you'll just, you have more heat, and you're still missing. And then when you occasionally do hit, you hit less because only one of them has hit. And you're probably better off just practicing with a regular railgun. So generally speaking, they're not, regarded as good. Except I guess if I don't know, that some people said that they might have a greater effect of the shield cell bank canceling if you have that modification on them.
Or you're 3 times as likely to hit the shield at the right moment. The shield bank at the right moment.
Yeah, and this is one of those weapons that, like, I think I could say both Trax and I know people that would either swear by or hate this weapon. It's very polarizing either way.
Yeah.
It's got some heat issues too because it shoots the 3 shots.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, it has higher heat, and railguns already have that issue. I don't think there's really anything redeeming about this. I think it's deceptive. I think it has the promise of being a slightly easier to use railgun, but it doesn't make it easier to deal damage to your enemy. It might make it easier to feel like you're connecting, but like I said, in my opinion, you'd be better off just practicing with the regular for a little while if you want to use a railgun.
Get good, noob.
Said as politely as possible. Are there any other decent guns? Okay, Cytos is a weird one.
Plasma accelerate. Oh,
okay, yeah, we could do that. Advanced plasma is easy.
That's a little more mid before we go to Cytos. So
advanced plasma again. Probably don't worry about it. It's the idea with this is similar ish to kind of a burst fire. So it's a plasma that fires 3 rounds in the time that a regular plasma would fire 1 round ish. And each shot does 41% of the damage of a regular plasma shot.
Do they travel as slow as normal plasma slugs do?
Yeah, everything else is the same about it. It's a little bit higher heat because you're just firing more often, but it works out to be basically, it's 286. Here's the actual numbers: 286% rate of fire, 41% damage per shot. Okay, so that works out to 124% damage if you're connecting with all of them. But the distributor draw is a little higher, and the thermal load is quite a bit higher, 145%, if you're sustaining fire. So it's really hard to power it. And then it has a magazine size of 20 instead of 5. So you have a slight benefit to the larger magazine. Okay. On paper, this one looks like they might have actually created like a configuration that could work as an alternate. You have to keep that sustained fire running before it's actually better, and that's really tough. I feel like I've used them.
Efficient would do really well on that weapon.
Oh well, listen. Pump the brakes.
Okay.
Don't ever use a plasma accelerator that doesn't have efficient mod on it. There's no other mod for plasma accelerators. I know you guys talk about using focused because it increases the flight speed. Get used to the slow flight speed of the thing. It's a hot, energy-hungry weapon. You need efficient on it. It does more damage than focused, even with the armor pen, because the armor penetration of plasma is 100 anyway.
It should
or
also
at least
be
in the
noted,
size 3. This is a size 3 gun, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big gun. It can only go in a size 3 slot.
Yeah. The Vulture is the only ship I think I've effectively used it on because it's nimble and small enough that you can just sit on the rear end of an Anaconda and just pound the thing into submission. But ultimately, like it's kind of edge case in that way. And on pretty much every other ship, you benefit more from the ability to sort of joust and burst fire that large bunch of damage rather than trying to stick with them and hit them with, multiple shots in that same amount of time. And keep your distributor full. If you're jousting, then you shift pips to weapons, you charge it up, you shift them back to engines, you boost, you angle the ship, you fire the shot, it lands, you flip around. You're distributing your pips on every turn around the enemy ship in order to keep things charged, pump them into the systems to pump your shields up before you come back around to take enemy fire, and et cetera. There's a whole pattern, right? And that's why plasmas end up being so effective at what they do. So when you spread that damage over 3 shots, even though you can fire them faster, it's not as effective most of the time. And I recently just tried them again in my Python 2, and same thing is true. It's just not as effective.
So effectiveness aside, I mean, you know me, my brain is trying to make a case to make a clipper that uses those, but
the clipper would be like where are the size 3 guns on a clipper?
On the edge of each wing.
Give me a fucking break, Lark.
Out there.
Lovely convergence. You have convergence.
They are 2 miles. They are 2 linear miles.
Literally could miss an Anaconda.
I want either to try side that sometime just to see.
Jesus. Okay. Of course. Yeah. Okay. Cyto Scramblers, another questionable gun. This one. Does everybody want me to talk again?
Which one did you say again? Sorry.
I think you've used them most, Trax.
No, my wife walked in, so I literally didn't hear it.
Yeah, I've never unlocked them, so I think you got to speak be the voice of experience.
Yes, Cyto Scramblers are a size 1 fixed burst laser.
I got thoughts on Cytos.
Yeah. Now this one I think is actually a pretty cool gun. It's just almost it's really, really hard to use effectively. It has really, really short range, unusually short, and it's only effective against shields because its armor penetration is like 1 or something. Yes, and an armor piercing rating of 1. So effectively, it can do like nothing as far as damage is concerned to hull. However, it does 238% DPS to shields. It's just coded that way, right? It's just like a little cheat code. So it has a higher fire rate and a couple of other things, but the reduced range is tough. The way I've used this effectively. So for one thing, it's a burst laser, so you can put inertial impact experimental on it, which converts it doesn't convert 50% of the damage to kinetic. It adds, and I don't know if this is a bug or what, but it actually adds 50% damage that is kinetic. Oh. And that causes it to be able to hurt hulls a little bit.
Story time about this.
It's still mostly a shield thing though, because that kinetic damage is hitting the shield as well. So what I've done is it's already a super short range gun and it has that laser damage fall off that's just so brutal. So I just put short range blaster on the thing and end up with like well over 100% damage boost from it. And you have to be within 500 meters for it to even hit, but it does 100% of its damage at that point. So you get right up on somebody and blast them with a few of these, and Sidewinder. I've stripped the shields off of Anacondas with a Sidewinder before, because you can just sort of hover there and blast it, and then of course nothing happens after the shield goes down. So. But anyway, that's the Cyto.
I've never unlocked that one, but I have watched plenty of streamers of Elite Dangerous use that weapon.
Yep.
And the ones who were able to use it the most successfully, they had 3 of them on a Chief or other C-Series ship, right? In the 3 smalls.
Yeah.
Overcharged or oversized as you can make them, whatever that engineering is, with the inertial impact on them. And I watched as he snuck up on an Anaconda that its shield flashed blue for the moment it was there. So it was probably at least A rated since they were dangerous level. And the shield was gone in 1 salvo.
Yeah, so so 3
He
Cytos.
fired 2 more times, and it was down to 50% hull, and was out of range of it.
Yeah, 3 Cytos, and then
It's
the other like
ridiculous.
pacifiers and the other thing. It's I think between overcharged and the short range, the reason I went for short range blaster was that it's more damage by a healthy margin, and beyond that 500, even with with overcharged, you have such a brutal damage fall off that really you have to be inside of 500 anyway. So I'm like, whatever. Basically, you've got to use these in a configuration where either you're like a super zippy sidewinder and you can just stick to the enemy ship hull, or it's like a bounty hunting situation where you come up on the enemy ship, position yourself, and then 3, 2, 1, go, and you have basically the 1 or 2 blasts before they move out of the way, and then you're on to your other
laser
guns.
shotgun if you put them in groups.
Yeah.
So new to the Discord, new to BGS. It had a chieftain, and it was the Cytos and multi-cannons. That's how I cut my teeth and learned combat in the BGS. And I got a really soft spot in my heart for those. And it's exactly like you were describing. It's a knife fight. Get up close, strip the shields, and then now you fall back and just let your cannons wail away on them. Yep.
And inertial impact adds. So they have a natural jitter. They have more jitter than a regular burst laser, and inertial impact inertial impact adds like another 3 degrees of jitter or something. It's so you can't hit an anaconda outside of 500 meters anyway. Again, this is just why I'm saying like short range is the way to go, because you're not going to hit anything with this anyway outside of that range. So.
Shooting like a stormtrooper.
Yeah, it's you'd be surprised. Like 5 degrees of jitter is like the whole monitor. It's like
it's comical. It looks
ridiculous.
Comical.
Yeah.
I did the inertial impact vulture, and I was for 2 seconds, and I'm like, nope.
Inertial impact.
I'm not trying to shoot the corners of my screen, and that's where the lasers are.
Yeah. Okay, I think the next one should be containment missile.
Has anyone used this? Because I have not.
I've had it used on me lots.
The containment missile is
a real pain in the ass is what it is.
Who was this affiliated with? This one?
This was
Grom.
This is Grom. This was the Grom bomb.
This is the Grom bomb.
Yeah.
That's been used against me too.
Yeah, so it's a size 2 a dumbfire missile rack that has a FSD interrupt effect on it. Which is the same type of effect that you can mod onto a weapon, and if you add that to these, it does increase the range. So you can get like a total FSD reboot time of like 17 seconds or something, which is extremely long.
It gets ridiculous, yeah.
Oh, hold on, I vamp guys, I gotta go.
Okay, so the other thing about the Grom bomb is that when you are trying to get away from a ganker, and you don't know that they fired that at you, suddenly your FSD is rebooting, and then life just sucks for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Audaxius? You mentioned it happened to you?
Multiple times. And the frustration is it doesn't give you that like missile incoming like we get with the other kinds.
No, it doesn't.
But the ECM works
because
on
there's no lock.
Yeah, the ECM does work on it.
So do to a lesser extent point defense. And like just because it literally for the only reason that it pisses gankers off, basically all my ships have at least 1 point defense on the top. So when they fire that torpedo or Grom bomb or whatever at me, it's just like and gone, and they're like, oh, every time.
Yeah, I just it amazes me my capacity to forget the basics and mechanics of this game, because with PowerPlay, I think I've had probably 10 or so player interactions. A few of them have been combat. They've had it. Every single one has had either the Grom bomb or the FSD interrupt missile. And I kept being like, how are they shutting down my frameshift drive? Just forgetting that module was in the game, or that you don't need it because you can mod the FSD interrupt onto it. But then I was
yeah,
like, oh, this is
interrupt
like bull crap. They don't know, like they don't show you that it's incoming. I was like, dude, if I just had an ECM, so I think on my Type 8, PowerPlay is open only. Like that's the one
100%.
hill I'll die on. Like we should be doing this in open.
Absolutely.
I have it on my Type 8 because my Type 8's that's one of my main PowerPlay cargo haulers, and if I get pulled, I'm taking that risk, and I just want to be able to shut that dumb missile down so I can at least have a rat's chance in hell of flying away.
What did you go ECM or did you go point defense?
ECM.
ECM. Okay.
If you did yourself the forever favor of getting that pre-engineered point defense with focused that does not exist in the game as a community goal reward like years ago, put that thing on it. I would give anything in game for that kind of point defense because apparently it's like a laser, but
It's awesome.
it was a one and done thing. So
It was a two and done thing, actually.
Oh, you got okay, yeah. So
I have two
did
of
you
them.
get
I
some?
got
Bloom?
it as well. Like just one of them, yeah.
I wish I had it, but I don't. And apparently it does the job real well.
But the other thing you could do if a ganker pulls you over is just have your ship built in a way that when they do interrupt your FSD, they're stuck in there with you, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Oh, frick.
All right,
Yeah, the
what's
only
next?
combat interaction I've had in PowerPlay was against an archer guy, and he ended up getting me because I didn't know my turrets were basically still in forward fire only mode, so they weren't firing at all.
Do you feel with turrets you would have been able to fight him off?
If my turrets were active, I wouldn't have even had to have turnaround because it's two size 3 multi-cannons and two size 2 multi-cannons, both of which have auto loaders and high capacity. Good luck the dude in a Cobra.
Yep. That's true.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right, what weapon
Well,
is next?
we talked about the Enforcer cannon. What about the Concord cannon?
Ooh.
I have not gotten it yet, and I want it, and someone talk it up to me.
That's the new
Does
one.
anyone
right?
have one?
That is the new. I do not. I don't know if any of us do.
This is
Hold
not
on, I'm
even
looking
the,
up the
Does Hayden have one? I think he was pledged
the wiki is
the waifu.
empty.
It
is the new
So
one.
basically, it's a burst cannon. Not that a burst cannon exists, but it's a cannon with burst, and that's what I remember about it. Now, I think that means that it can be used to take out modules much more easily. But yeah,
Okay,
That's
I'm
all.
back.
Yeah, you're back. So what do you know about it besides that it's a
Sorry,
burst?
I was trying to get to EDSY to get everything set up there. Oh, frick. Oh, I hit back. Hold on.
It's just a step.
Yeah, it's just I do not
Okay.
see it in Coriolis.
Concord cannon is a size 2 gimbaled cannon.
That's right.
And that's important because you actually want gimbals on cannons. There's people that actually swear by fixed cannons, and I will say fixed cannons, they do more damage. They do use less distributor when you fire, but they have a really, 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 really high learning curve. There's only a few ships that I'm even willing to do fixed cannons on, simply because even with the long range mods, it becomes so hard to bullseye the module or part of the ship you're trying to shoot at when you're flipping around all crazy like Trax does. But
it is so fun.
It is, yes. I will give you that. So I actually think gimbal is a good thing on a Concord cannon, especially since it's a burst. So a normal cannon, here we go. A normal
So
cannon.
it doesn't have a fixed version at all?
It does not have a fixed version. Concord cannon is gimbaled only, size 2. So a normal cannon, it does about 12.2 DPS with a sustained DPS of 10.3, according to EDSY, right? On the Concord cannon, you're getting a DPS of 31.35 if you nail all the hits, with a sustained of 18.04. So each one of those shells that it fires, I believe, has the same potency as a normal cannon does. And that's the big plus there. The downside is it's gimbaled, so you can undo it with chaff. And Also, cannons do have a pretty, like, not compared to plasmas, really. Plasmas are slower, but cannons do have a pretty slow flight time for how fast the ships can move in this game. So if you're going after like a small ship or something, I wouldn't recommend a cannon, even a Concorde cannon. But if you're going against mediums or larges, that's where cannons, and I assume the Concorde cannon would really shine. Because against those bigger ships, it's a lot easier to get into those sub-targets and be like, oh, look at that power plant that used to be there, right through the center of their ship. At least that's been my experience with cannons, but I'm also extremely biased because I love cannons, so someone else talk now.
Well, I probably wouldn't do it because it is only gimbaled. I'm one of those that, and I only recently, I mean, over in the last 6 months, just went all fixed and got converted. And you touched on one of the reasons that I got converted, and that is if someone is well, no, if someone's popping chaff, you're wasting time at that point if you can't put rounds on the target. And I found when I went with fixed cannons, I was finishing CZs quicker than if I was going gimbaled, but I'm not able to lay fire on the enemy when they're popping chaff. So it made, so yeah, it hit harder, but I could also take more shots.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I will say, since I'm not like an FA off proponent basically at all, maybe that's why I err toward gimbals anyways, because I'm just flying like I'm in Star Wars. I don't really care otherwise. I'll go FA off if I'm in a tough fight, but outside of that, I really don't use that flight assist off at all, to be completely honest.
That's the other misnomer. I'm not doing that much FA off at all either with the fixed cannons. The problem I've got with the FA off, and if I ever go work on my sticks as far as getting some oh shit, I'm forgetting what you call it right now, but the problem I've got right now is I cannot keep my hand quiet enough to target with FA off.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right, and I need to put some slopes in on the stick to calm it down. So
yeah, build some dead zones in. That'll help you.
I'll use the FA off to get an approach vector and get in, but when I get in tight, I'll go to flight assist back on to lock on the target and pull the shot off, and then go back off and FA off again. So,
well, hey, whatever works for you.
Yeah. But reasonably with the Concorde cannon, you could engineer it. I don't know why you would do this, but you could put rapid fire on there with multi servos and just essentially dock it with a cannon. Yeah.
So that's actually a misnomer with cannons, or with burst, I should say, burst in general. Because on burst lasers, when you do, was it rapid fire? You said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you do rapid fire, all that does is decrease the time between each shot. So instead of going da-da-da, it goes da-da-da. But the time between firing doesn't change.
That's the same.
Yeah, that's the same. So, like, if I could see a case for rapid fire on a Concorde cannon, specifically because it would, like, if all those shells are closer together, that's going to make it a lot easier to hit your target, like, straight up. So like say you engineer it short range, or say you engineer it rapid fire and then put like oversized shells on it. So you want to get in there short range to have that be your opening salvo. I see a case where you could really lay waste to somebody before they have a chance to turn around. And then it's just cleanup after that. You know what I mean?
Well, either way, I'm using 4 shell in all my cannons anywhere. Pushing little ships around is probably the most enjoyable thing in the game.
You're the one.
Yeah.
Flick them around and then you hit them with pack hounds, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Fun story. If you're on foot and you land a 4-shell next to somebody, you can effectively golf with commanders.
I'll remember that for next time.
Yeah, the SRBs too.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
That's the next paid expansion after Odyssey.
I can't remember if it was Bork or Blooming Wind, but I was doing some on-foot stuff, basically murdering people in Odyssey, and they were up in the ship with a bunch of dumbfire missiles, and it turns out the area of effect on those is quite large. You wouldn't know that from the cockpit, but I died real quick.
All right, so now, not to be the one to steer the ship, but we have 2 more modules left on the list.
Ew.
Would we go with pacifiers or prismatics next?
Do prismatics next
Ooh.
because Trax isn't back yet.
Yeah, we'll give him a chance.
He loves the frags.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who can talk on prismatics?
Well, there's
I
this
only
really
have
cute
one
blue-haired chick that
prismatic.
gives
I
them
can
to
talk
you.
about it if I need to. Who else has it?
Oh, that's the only one I got from PowerPoint 1.0.
Are you serious?
I didn't touch anything else besides that.
All right, so
Yep,
you
it
two
was-
start, and then the rest of us will pile on.
Yeah, they're oh boy, I don't have the numbers. It's the single biggest ship in the game. They are not biweaves. They are like the standard shield. And if you get I think it's 8 on the cutter, or the size 8C, it's only C grade, a prismatic. It is the biggest shield in the game. You
Bar
beef that up
none.
with a bunch of heavy duty super capacitor shield boosters. I think you can get the cutter to over 23,000 megajoules, I think, in theory. And then you do that little trick with the prismatic. You have to buffer it with shield cell banks. It's never going to come back in normal space. And even with super cruise and little boost you get to shield recharge, it's just not going to come back. It's a one and done use thing.
Yeah. So
even sitting at a station, it takes a while.
Yeah,
docked
takes a
for
while
this
to
for the shield
recharge.
to refuel.
Yep.
Yeah, it can
But
take
yeah,
minutes.
if you do the trick where, like on a cutter or a Corvette, if your shield cell bank module size is bigger than the shield, like if you did the size 7 shield as opposed to the 8, you get more shield than if you had the bigger shield with smaller shield cell banks, because you can actually fully refill the thing. So
to put this in perspective, a normal 6A shield, at minimum strength, you'll have 70% of your shield. At optimal strength, you'll have 120% of whatever the shield number is. And at maximum strength, 170%. On a prismatic, let me change this. Its minimum strength is 100%. Its optimal is 150. And if you have all pips in systems, your shield is at 200% strength.
double the strength.
Yeah, a prismatic, it is not a shield that you want if you need a fast charging shield. It is the shield you want when captain shields are down, we need to retreat type shield. That it is your shield, that is your armor, that is everything if you're running a prismatic. That's the
And
only
it is
way
the
to do it.
standard PvP shield.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Great in the Corvette for the CZs. I mean, I run the Corvette is the Astro build.
Yeah.
If you've seen that. So that's 7A prismatic with thermal resistance force block on it. It's backed up by 5 to 6 shield boosters, and then you run 2 shield cell banks, which is too much for your it's too much of a power draw. But the trick there is you only turn one of them on, and once it's used up, then you flip to the other one. And so you can stay in CZs for days. I kind of chuckle at Nurgle when he gets mad going to the megaship stuff with a smaller ship, and everything aggroes against him and chases him out, and he goes on a little bit of a rant, and I go do the megaships with the vet, and they all aggro with me, and I go, oh, that's nice, and just kind of move out of the way and take a few out and get them to mix up with some other people, and
nerds.
hit the bank and
are
keep
designed
going.
to not be hit.
So when you need numbers, put the prismatic on something, and you stay in the fight longer.
Yeah. With the prismatics, just made me feel that at the design meeting when they came up with all these, they started with like the prismatic shield, the pacifier frag, and they realized they were very quickly going to run out of good modules. And then by the end, they were just desperate for ideas. So we got shit like the retributor laser.
I like to
Like
think
that Dimitri
they
Martin.
stuck
It's
with
like the
it.
Dimitri Martin bit where they were like, this guy sat down to name the vitamins, and they were like, okay, vitamin A, vitamin B, and the guy was like, whoa, slow down, we got a lot of vitamins. Okay, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, and then by the time they got to vitamin E, they were like, shit, I guess we're kind of like done.
Here comes the multi-vitamin.
That meeting happened at the FDev office with the PowerPlay modules.
100%.
Yeah,
And the
but
shields are green.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely worth whatever power you pick. It's absolutely worth sticking with them long enough to get them. If you're running cargo and open in a cutter, you other than like a wing of gankers or a lot of FSD interrupts, if you have the prismatic on your cutter, you're basically invincible.
Yeah.
You're going to have to work to get away, but it's not, I mean, it's more a question of when rather than if.
Right. And the combination of that and your speed, and the odds are in your favor. Yep.
Now, are you sacrificing one of your largest cargo racks for a prismatic, or
I do size
probably
6 on the cutter. Yeah, I do size
Okay.
6 prismatic on the cutter. I've only been blown up in the cutter by getting pulled by another player once, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Get it.
Yeah. Prismatic is where this is my wall. And if they get through the wall, well, then at least they earn the kill at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen people with cutters and a prismatic on it, a really, really big prismatic, and their megajoules, aka hit points for it, are in the thousands. They are so far up there. Nothing's getting through that. Just straight up. You're not.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All
Okay.
right. Well, I think we got to move on to the last one.
It does. The pacifier frag cannon. Someone that knows something about this, tell me, because I never got it because screw Hudson.
Yeah. Still kind of feels bad that when it originally came from him, huh? Kind of feels gross. Do any of us have it? I don't know if any of us have it.
Get a rant next time.
I've got them.
Rex has them.
I'm doing it for the first time. So ask me at the end of the week. I'm going to be using them tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't
Well, how
we
about
could
this?
save
How
the
about this?
pacifier for the next episode?
I was gonna say, yeah, how about this? That's a lot of modules to go over.
Yeah.
And our biggest proponent of pacifiers had to go, I assume, for a family emergency or something. Hopefully everything's well.
Mhm.
So let us save the pacifiers, the best for last, for
Yeah, it's a
next
treat.
episode.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Yep.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, guys. It's been a long episode.
Has been a
Yeah.
long episode.
Yeah.
So
We
let's
gotta wrap
roll
it up
up
here?
in to the community corner. Distance Cruise 3 still is planned for the 20th or for the 31st, possibly, or was it 25th? Frick, I don't know. It's not in front of me.
We've been
So,
kicking the can down the road.
yeah, it's extremely possible that can's getting kicked down the road because of all of the Braben tunnels that are happening. Because we've been planning a mass jump event, and exploring involves a lot of jumping, and
Lots.
it would honestly just piss people off. So it's pending that getting fixed, and we'll see what happens. But either way, we're going to do something on Bloomingwin's birthday coming up. Probably a piranha night. At least that's what's in my head, but we'll see what he wants to do. Maybe we'll all go mining.
Well, I'm hopeful you're going to be able to get that off because now FDev has acknowledged the Braben tunnels, and there is a lot of the communities right now all planning the same thing to head to the black. So I'm thinking FDev is feeling a little pressure on that. Maybe we'll get some good news here pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. So if it gets fixed in a timely manner, then Distance Cruise 3 is still on for the end of January. If not, then there'll be more info coming on that. Also, Alec Turner, the one and only, put a advertisement in our Discord, and we also have a link in the show notes to his Discord for Buckyball. It's kicking off again in a few months. Alec Turner himself is running the events this year. In the meantime, the Elite Racers have a race series where they are literally live racing SRVs, a whole bunch of them, around the Thargoid sites. Dates are going to be determined soon, but get into the Elite Racers Discord if you're interested in that, because these people are insane. And if nothing else, it's fun to just watch them race because they're flying SRVs. It's pretty messed up. It's awesome. I love it. Has anyone actually seen those? Because I've only seen the videos of them from the few times they've done it.
I have not.
Never have.
Need to
Nope.
check it out. I'm sure they're on YouTube. I gotta check it out.
Y'all have to check them out. These guys are nuts in the best possible way. They're our people. I'll just say that.
Well, Art, tell them where they can find us.
Well, they can find us at loosescrewsed.com. That's loosescrewsed.com. You could also join the Discord via the link that's present on that website, or support us on our Patreon for a bunch of things like mugs and which makes possible a bunch of things like mugs and for some reason tight pants and sweaters and things like that. Merch, because we love merch. And I am planning to hopefully give away some merch with some crazy contests during Distance Screws 3, but more info on that later.
Repeater races.
Exactly, yes. All right. And so for myself, Commander Audaxius, Commander Baramir, Commander Blooming Wind, and Commander Oblivious, and Commander JN Trax, who had a family emergency and had to jet out.
And Commander Disco Board.
And Commander Disco Board. I actually almost said that, Blooms.
almost read the bot.
Yes.
Very good.
Look, we will bid you a fond farewell. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Buy the leggings.
Successful. Engines disengaged.